along, everybody. Day 4 of the Goalball competition. And what a treat to start off with game 47 here on Hall 1 at the CBS Arena. It is Great Britain against Finland men. We start off the day's action. And that isn't the only GB representation today. Women are in action right after us against China. Elsewhere, the Great Britain men's side will be in action once again later on today as they take to the court to take on Japan at 5 o'clock. That's just a flavour of what's to come. Remember yesterday they were well beat by Lithuania. Chance to come back, show the signs of green shoot recovery against the Finland side, who also really benefit with the victory after what we saw on Monday. They were on this court and didn't really produce in their 9-6 loss to Germany, so they could really do with a bounce-back result themselves. We're just under 5 minutes away from starting it at the CBS Arena. We'll reveal the two lineups very shortly, as it'll be Great Britain taking to the court once again as they take on Finland. It's coming up.
This is your guide to Goalball. The aim of Goalball is to throw a 1.25 kilogram ball into your opponent's goal and to prevent your opponent from doing the same. At the end of the match, the team with the most goals wins. It's a simple premise, but there's so much that adds layers of intrigue. At official competitions like the Paralympic Games, Goalball can be played by athletes who are blind or partially sighted. All players must wear eye shades to even the competition. Players have some audio and tactile cues to help them locate the ball and their surroundings. The lines on the court are slightly raised, so players can feel where they are on the court. Added to that, the 1.25 kilogram ball has bells within it to help players locate its position. That's right, by the way, 1.25 kilograms. Goalball is played on a court of 18 by 9 metres, and the goals themselves are the full 9 metre width of the court. In teams of 3, players take turns to attack and defend depending on possession of the ball. It requires great toughness and durability as the game is played on a hard court with limited protection, and the only way to stop the ball going in is to block it, sometimes by hurling yourself across the hard court to make spectacular saves. In attack, different throwing techniques are used to generate power and accuracy and to try and dupe the opponent. The most common is the discus throw, where players spin and release akin to a discus thrower. A popular move, coined the Brazilian special, involves powering the ball backwards through your own legs. Players aren't unlimited in their options though. Among the rules is a requirement for the ball to touch the floor in both your own and your opponent's half, much like a ping pong serve, to be a legal throw. At the Paralympics, throws have been measured at over 60 kilometers an hour, with the best players in the world fire their way to glory. The USA are the most successful country at the Paralympics, with both their men's and women's teams winning a combined 13 medals over the years. Their women's team have also got the most World Championships podiums. In the men's, the USA are also the most decorated with 5 Paralympic medals, closely followed by Lithuania with 4. Goalball is played all around the world at the highest level at World and Regional Championships in Europe, Africa, the Americas and Asia and Oceania, as well as lots of smaller competitions. So what are you waiting for? Check Goalball out now.
Let's take a look at the squad list then for this one. 6 players each, of course, is the maximum you can name. We wait to see who the starters are for Great Britain men, but this is the squad. Matt Loftus is number 2, number 3 is Josh Murphy, number 4 David Scott, who was very good yesterday in terms of his accuracy and shots for Great Britain. Hopefully he can bring it with him today. Caleb Nanev is number 5, and then the ropers are Dan number 7, and Joe is number 8. Faye Dale is the head coach. Alex Bunny, of course, the assistant. Josie Hughes, who completes the coaching lineup as the staff. Well, for Finland, they are like this with their 6-man squad. Ville Montonen is number 2, Eetu Erlinen is number 3, Erkki Minala is number 4, Petri Posse number 7, Mika Honkanen number 8, and Joni Jurlinen is number 9. The coaching staff include Pasi Koivukari as the head coach, Katja Heikkinen as the assistant, and the other member of staff is Teemu Honkanen. Well, we can see On screen, the 3 involved for England, for Great Britain, as it is Dan Roper, who is the left of the centre, which does appear to be David Scott. And then it's Matt Loftus, who is also in the starting lineup. I'll give you the confirmation of what the Finland lineup is, but Great Britain are in red for this one. They were in blue yesterday. As they go from left to right in this first period. 12-minute halves each. As David Scott will have the first effort on the goal. Just wide it goes. Away to Petri Possio's right. That would have been an ideal start for Great Britain as they, of course, look to make amends following that defeat to Lithuania yesterday on this court here at the CBS Arena in Coventry. Kept out by Loftus, who will just play it to Dan Roper, who will look to get the first goal of the match, but Erkki Miinola is there to keep him out. Of course, they have got the whole width of the court to aim for in terms of the goal. It is very wide, but it is quite short in terms of height, as it's well defended by Mika Honkanen. So Finland are, Honkanen is the number 8, he's the centre. To the right of him is Petri Possio, and to the left of Honkanen, the centre, is Erkki Miinola. As we now see Dan Roper try and strike, but it's one that is kept out well by Possio, who gets his body in the way of it, and it goes off the court. Will be a Finland attempt with Miinola. Kept out though well by Great Britain. We are just over a minute in. Goalless at the moment here in Coventry. And what is game 47 of the Goalball tournament. Right now, Ukraine against Australia is taking place on the other court. As the attempt from Finland has just gone past the Great Britain goal, so it's up to Dan Roper to try and now put Great Britain in front. Quite as he was out. Off the court, his feet. Well, Lithuania yesterday in that encounter with Great Britain really just built up a head of steam. They had a tremendous number 7 in Genrik Pavliukianets, who was really the big problem for Great Britain in terms of stopping his shots. Got so much power on it, it was very difficult to try and stop it and read where it was going. No disrespect to Finland, but having seen them in the first game on this court that they had against Germany, Great Britain will certainly fancy their chances more than the Lithuania side, who are quite strong when it comes to the men's category of goalball. David Scott now right-handed throw. Sees the ball bounce into the Finland half, but it's one that will go wide. You will hear the officials shout quiet please often as they can, because there has to be complete silence for the players on the court as Miinola is trying to go towards the near goal. Dan Roper is keeping it out. You will notice that there is little lines in sort of the areas of the EB and Finland halves. That's because of the tactile, so it helps players with defensive shape and structure when they are trying to defend the opposition attacks. Helps the players, of course, who have got those eye shades on to make it fair competition, easy to understand where they've got to be. So they can just feel it along the tape and whatever else. So just under 10 minutes of the first half to go. First game of 8 on court 1, Hall 1. Great Britain 0, Finland 0. Opportunity by Dan Roper. He's kicked up by Possio. Heard it very early on where Roper was trying to put it in. 2 hands to it to keep him out. No tipping away, and David Scott can save it and keep it close to him, and he's looking to score here, and he's done just that. That is a brilliant throw by David Scott. He was lethal for Great Britain yesterday. Couldn't really smile about it, could he? Because his team got a bit of a battering from Lithuania, but Might be a different story this time round, as he's got the opening goal of the game. As Great Britain have the lead against Finland. As we've still got not over 9 minutes of this first half to play. What a brilliant throw it was. Sort of had the sort of throw like a discus throw where he turned, spun into it, into the middle. That was perfect. And the throw was to match, equally as good, as he's put Great Britain 1-0 up here in Coventry. Remember, on home soil. As now Dan Roper's having a go. It's not too far away from making it 2-0. Within inches of finding that near corner to Erkki Minola's goal. Side of the goal. Of course, each player on the court covers sort of one side of that goal, which is covering the whole court in the width. As you can see, Dan Roper is covering the sort of near side. The centre is being covered by Matt Loftus for Great Britain. David Scott covering the far side. As Finland look to equalise. Possio's bouncing effort is well read and well kept out. Great Britain's David Scott. Remember, they are back on court later at 5 PM when they take on Japan. Great Britain women on after this against China. As it will be a penalty for Great Britain, and it's 2-0. Dan Roper putting it in. As the crowd cheer on. Lovely throw, great technique, great accuracy. And Great Britain are 2 up. 8 minutes 29 left on the clock. This is certainly a lot better. Great Britain as they get a second victory from 4 on this court. Remember, they beat Egypt on Sunday, lost to Germany on Monday. Yesterday, lost to Lithuania, which we'll not talk about, but certainly talk about what's going on at the moment as they are 2 up against Finland. Chasing down a deficit. Minola looking to beat David Scott. It comes off him, but they scramble back and are able to deal with it, in particular Matt Loftus. Roper through the middle, going for it. Swinging to save it was Honkanen, but Petri Possio was in a better position to make the stop. As the spectators are in here at the CBS Arena. David Scott, who's already bagged himself a goal already today, able to make it double for himself as Possio is there to thwart him. And they're going for it. Kept up by Dan Roper, and he does well to just relax. He was on the goal line prepared to sort of see the ball go to him. It didn't in the end. It dropped a few metres away from him, so he was able to actually get from the goal line and just move slightly forward to get a hold to it. Keep it. Done well tonight, Erkki Minola. With the Finland number 4 attempting to score on Roper's side. The near side where he's defending at the moment, as David Scott goes from the far side to the near side to have an attempt. Most of his shots in this game have gone towards Petri Possio, but he tried to have a go at Erkki Minola just to see if the Finland number 4 was on his toes defensively, and it was the case for Minola that he was to keep him out. Picked up by Minola. He's just moving into the middle now, and we'll give it to Petri Possio. Looking to try and find a way through, but no way through. With Loftus sending it away. Of course, you can use any part of your body to stop a goal going in against you. But of course, in terms of actually how you score, you've got to use your arms and throw the ball. As you just saw the example there with David Scott, who seems to be the player for Great Britain who's got the most power on his shots. So you will see it again. He went with that discus throw type technique and approach, and Finland are able to keep it out as Minila's gone for the far corner, but nowhere near it, and bounces over the court and will be a Great Britain ball. To day 4 of the Goalball action. Last 2 days of group stage action. Today and tomorrow. And we do move on to the knockout rounds. 78 matches are courtesy of the sort of first round group stage of this competition. Overall there are going to be 102 matches, so we're still a fair old way from the competition's final stages. We're not even halfway yet. As it is here, first game of the day in Hall 1 at the CBS Arena. Great Britain 2, Finland 0, 6 minutes 35 seconds remaining. Right now Ukraine and Australia men are up against each other on Court 2, or Hall 2. As Dan Roper will have the latest go for Great Britain. Out there by Posio, just couldn't get it in that gap between Honkinen and Posio. Of course, they have 10 seconds to take each attempt to each side. Of course, there are timekeepers who keep a very close eye on what goes on and if they are over the limit or not for taking an attempt. By the way, the officials, Linda Wellborn and Romualdas Vaitekius, two sort of on the court, but Finland have pulled one back, and it's Erkki Minala who's got it. Turned and spun, great bounce, real good effort. It was low and through the England defence. Loftus just a little bit out in terms of trying to stop it. He was unlucky, and it is now 2-1. As Finland are on the board. Promise to make this final 5 minutes 48 seconds a real good contest that remains of this first half. Posio is sharp in terms of keeping at Great Britain. By the way, Antonios Christodoulos and Fariba Mohammadi are the timekeepers. Loftus is now giving it to David Scott. So back on the whistle, the clock will count down. Nearly 7 minutes of the way through in this first half. Attempt from Scott is saved by the centre, Honkinen, who holds on to it. Right arm throw, takes that bounce, hits the chest of Dan Roper, who's in the way of it. And it will be a Great Britain ball. Roper going for it. Minala keeping it out. Of course, the noise of the ball can sometimes help the players in terms of where the opposition attack is throwing into, or what area. Because they don't just stay in their little zones, where they sort of behind the, or in front, or right on the tactile tape. They pretty much can roam around, as you may have noticed already if you've been watching just this game alone, or you've been just watching Goalball this week. Or if you're a regular watcher, you will certainly know what I mean. Certainly the crowd, when they can, they get that window to give out a roar or a cheer. They're trying to do so as they bring the home support. For GB men, they're going to need it for the women right after this. So a timeout called. The floor gets wide as it is a substitution for Great Britain, as Joe Roper is going to be brought on. David Scott takes his seat on the England bench, so he'll be making the first change of this game. And it's Joe Roper on in place of David Scott. Immediately involved is Joe Roper. Tapped well though by Petri Posio. So he is now to the left of the centre, Matt Loftus, who's just stopped Possio's shot going through him. Power effort by Dan Roper is straight though for Possio. Of course, if you can get your technique right in terms of your throw, you can get a lot of power. It can be so difficult for the defending team, so it is something that can really help the attacking side in this game as Possio keeps it out, lets his teammate run for it, which is Honkanen, who's kept it in. Of course, if it goes over that yellow line in the middle of the neutral area and it goes over to the other side of the court, it will be an opposition ball. So you've got to sprint quickly to get back and make sure it doesn't go over that yellow line down the middle of that court, splitting it into two. Miller attempting to get a second goal for him and his country. Joe Roper with the attempt. Turning into it and saving is Honkanen, who goes all the way back to the goal line in the middle of his own half, looking to try and find a way through. Get it beyond the gap of Loftus, who could not have been more immaculately timed with his defending if he attempted that again. Finland, though, will have the attempt, and Miller's put it away. Well, they've come from 2-0 down to level it up, and it's him again. I just talked about it there. You get your accuracy, you get your throw right, and the power will take care of itself, and it has done with Erkki Minala's effort. As Great Britain's lead is now officially gone from 2 up to 2-2. And there is a timeout called by Great Britain, so maybe a good time to do so with Finland just coming back into it as Dale is relaying some information to Loftus and Dan and Joe Roper. As well, the court gets a bit of a wipe to make sure it is clean and sort of moisture free, if you like. Also the players diving and moving around can be a little bit of a slippery slope, cause a few issues for the players defending. So when a timeout gets called or there's any sort of stoppage, they will come on and try and, of course, want the floor of the court, which is a pretty hard surface, hence why a lot of the players do wear sort of knee pads or stop themselves getting bruises or cuts and whatever else. So 2 minutes 53, Great Britain 2, Finland 2. Right now Ukraine, Australia is on court in Hall 2. Attempt by Dan Roper is seized and dealt with by Erkki Minala. On a hat-trick, remember. Naido, Faye Dale and Alex Bunny, the England Great Britain head coach and assistant, are looking around at the official, staring right at the official on the near side, saying that there might have been an offence in there, but the official did say, of course, they can't shout it with the ball in play, so they had to almost give a sign, which wasn't seen. The effort, the powerful attempt has just gone into the side netting. On the outside, it was so close to actually being 3-2 for Great Britain. As now Joe Roper will have an attempt for Great Britain. Will go from one side of the court to the other, far side to the near side. Kimino there to keep it out. He'll come centrally. It's low, trying to get it beyond Loftus, which he did, but Dan Roper there to be in the way of it. As he will now have a go. Miller spills it, but then just gets a right hand to it to stop it, just trickling over the goal line. As we're on to game 49, as you can see. It is Great Britain 2, Finland 2 at the moment. Play one of 2 games on this court later. Will Great Britain, they'll take on Japan at 5 o'clock. Got off to a great start, but Finland brought it back down to earth. Dan Roper now attempts to try and beat Minola. Well held and well stopped by Minola, who will give it to Posio, trying to go into the far corner. Away to Joe Roper's left, but it was straight at the England sub Joe Roper, who came on, remember, for David Scott. It's helped in by Loftus, and Finland are in the lead for the first time today. Well, Loftus has tried to tip it away and stop it. It's had the opposite effect, I'm afraid. And Finland are now in the lead, with Posio getting the third goal. A real sucker punch for Great Britain, who conceded within just over a minute left of the first half, but they will reply, and it will be 3-3. Great response by GB. An effort too strong and too good, which has gone through the Finland defence and into the goal. So Great Britain show they're made of stern stuff and have pulled it back to 3-3. They have already produced a comeback in this tournament, albeit a lot bigger than what they had to do here. When they were 3 down against Egypt, they would go on to win their opening Goalball counter of the World Games. But it was the effort from Dan Roper, which was in. Honkanen missed it. Minola helped it in. And it's 3-3 with 2 for Dan Roper. He will look to get another one. This time Honkanen timing that well. The best of throws towards the Great Britain goal. He actually hit the boards well away from the court. It's actually bounced out towards the spectators. It was a bit of catching practice for a couple of members of the public, I think, over towards the sort of left side out of your picture. 9.8 seconds of this first period remain. 6 goals shared. What this does show is that this game is up for grabs in terms of 2 sides really looking to try and get the victory. Tapped in from, and Roper goes wide of the near side. He was directly towards where Minola was defending from, and they don't attempt a shot to Finland because they keep it at 3-3 as Minola just winds down the few seconds that remain. While Great Britain were 2-0 up, and then they pulled it back, Finland to go 3-2 up, and then Dan Roper would equalise right at the end of the first half to make it 3-3. So it's set up to be a cracking second half here in Coventry, the first game of the day on Court 1. It is Great Britain 3, Finland 3. We'll be back for the second half in just under 3 minutes' time.
IBSA, International Blind Sports Federation, presents, with the support of the International Paralympic Committee, IBSA Anti-Doping App, the first application of its kind in the Paralympic movement, specifically designed for blind and visually impaired people. Athletes, coaches, medical staff, managers, and the public in general now have a powerful tool to stay focused on the principles of clean sport. Scrolling down the main menu, you can find all the important themes you need to know to play fair and be alert to testing procedures and necessary adaptations for athletes with visual impairments. IBSA gives top priority to anti-doping control, being the only international federation with 3 sports in the Paralympic family: goalball, football, and judo. IBSA Anti-Doping App has external links, namely to WADA, where our sport agents can always find the most updated information, especially the list of prohibited substances and methods. Glory in sport can only be achieved by the athlete's awareness of their rights and responsibilities. You can find them on the IBSA Anti-Doping App. IBSA is continuously promoting anti-doping education to all its affiliate athletes and sport agents. not only about the consequences of the use of doping and the risk of using supplements. IBSA believes that education is the major tool to fight doping in sport. Informed athletes can make better decisions. Download the app now at the usual operating system stores.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have seen history being made today.
Such a great team at these championships.
IBSA. Beyond sight. Feel the sport.
Finland, it is 3-3 going into this second period. Game 46, by the way. Ukraine-Australia is right now on court in Hall 2 at the CBS Arena in Coventry. Of course, abbreviated to the Coventry Building Society Arena, so it's probably better to call it the CBS Arena rather than its full name. So we're about to see the second period get underway. Linda Wellborn just giving her instructions and what she expects from the next 12 minutes, this second period. Great Britain right to left in red, with a lot of white trim on the top of the shirt. And Finland in white with black down the sides. It will be Finland who will get things back underway, left to right for them. Did see a draw yesterday. Same scoreline as it was 3-3 between Israel and China in the women's. I'll be amazed if there's no goals in this opening, or in this 12-minute second half period. And right on cue there is. Finland are in front. And David Scott, who's back on for this second half, just couldn't hold on. And Erkki Minala helps himself to his third and his country's fourth. As within the first 10 seconds of the restart, Finland have put themselves back into the lead for the second time today. There's up to Great Britain again to try and get level. There's the Finnish side is as you were, so Posio on the near side, the middle is Honkanen, and Erkki Minala is to the left of Honkanen, the centre. Great Britain, David Scott back on. He's about to attempt latest attempt to get his second, is he? No, well saved there by Honkanen. And then there's Loftus in the middle, and then on the right is Dan Roper. David Scott has come on for Joe Roper, by the way. So there was a change made right at the start of this second period by Great Britain. 10:52 remaining. Finland 4, Great Britain 3. Attempt by Minala. Held by Loftus. He's borrowing a bit of a sticky situation. Has been quite good with his handling. As Erkki Minala now has an opportunity for Finland to try and put them 5-3 at the ball. Didn't go in the landing area, so it will be in, and it will be in for 5-3. Second conceded of the half for Great Britain. As Minala puts the penalty away, Scott dived to his right. Minala just put it past him and in. We have seen in both the men and the women's sort of dummy runs get created to throw the sort of defence off, but not there. Minala just backed himself to score the usual way with no run at all, and that is exactly what he managed to do. As the opportunity comes in from Posio. But he's denied, as now attempting it is Dan Roper. Wide of the near goal where Petri Posio is. And the Great Britain women on next on court in Hall 1 against China. And the men back later, 5 o'clock against Japan. As David Scott is There to make a stop from a Finland shot. Dan Roper going for it. It's a bounced effort. It took a bit of an awkward bounce for Minala. And he is there to deal with it and keep it out. 10 minutes to go. We've had 2 minutes, 5 seconds plus of the second period played so far. Attempt by Dan Roper is one that Finland have been able to keep out. You get a lot of power on your shots. Sometimes it's too good and too strong for the defence, as Scott may be helping this all the way in, but it's actually gone away from the goal and toward Dan Roper. As the throw comes in from Dan Roper, but it's wide of the far goal, as you can see. With the near side he's throwing into. Does appear, though, Great Britain are thinking perhaps change is possible and imminent here. Scott is to come off again. Caleb Nanavi will be coming on across the eye shades. Go on, make it easy for the fairness of the game. The players who can play goalball can either be blind or partially sighted, so with those eye shades on it makes it completely fair, because there will be someone on court who's got better sight than some players, but of course with those shades on it makes it no unfair advantage to a certain side or certain player or whatever else. Minala going through the middle with that attempt, but it's low. It's into the midriff of Matt Loftus. 1:07 remain. So White, timeout being called. 2 in it. 5-3 up. There's a chance for a drinks break and a chance for info to get relayed. So we are into game 1 of 8 on court in Hall 1. Same number on court in Hall 2, so 16 in total games being played across the day. Having an attempt is Minala, but stopped. Nanavi, who just came on, is looking to try and pull one back for Great Britain, but he went towards the goal on the far side, but is denied as Minala sensed it and dealt with it. Now, Dan Roper will have a go for Great Britain. However, though it is one that he won't be able to steer on target at least. We'll hear the official shout "quiet please" quite a lot, because the players have to have it as a silent court. And he stands across the pin drop as Nanavi tips it with his left forearm onto the frame of the goal. Could that prove to be a big stop by Caleb Nanavi, who goes for the spin throw through the middle? It looked quite good at first, but in the way is Mika Honkanen. Great Britain will go again. Dan Roper going for it. Spreading himself to defend it is Petri Posio. Attempt now for Finland will fall to Minala, who will be denied by Dan Roper. All he had to do there was just turn into it. Almost instead of hit his body, which he did. Timeout call. For Great Britain. And in Coventry, and it's 5-3 to Finland still. They were on this court on Monday, losing to Germany. A 9-6 win for Germany in that game. Great Britain men yesterday, of course, Lithuania beat them 13-3. It was over really before Great Britain really got out of the traps. Here though, they are still very much in this. Don't be fooled into thinking they couldn't turn this around with under 8 minutes to play. A long time to go in this second half as Nanovic nearly got away through. It looked like it was going to be promising for Great Britain, but Finland and Posio were there to stop them. Great Britain, that is, in scoring. Nanovic goes again, but this time it's a little bit more into Posio rather than away from him. Didn't have to use his feet to try and just hack it clear. As I mentioned, you can use any part of your body to stop a goal. But in terms of scoring one, well, you simply have to be using your arms and use your hands. Nanovic will throw underarm. Dive in to keep him at bay is Mika Honkanen. Now Minala coming in from the far side into the middle with that discus spin throw. Can leave you in a bit of a spin. They should come back round, but the attempt was picked up by Great Britain. So, Finland penalty. Big opportunity this. There does look to be that there is another one on the court. But it will just be the standard effort, and Posio will score. They'll make that 6-3 now, Finland. Lovely, lovely effort from Petri Posio. There was a second player on the court, but he didn't make the fake or dummy run at all. He was just on the side, just hoping to hear that there would have been a cheer or a clap from the Finland bench, which there was. As putting it in was Petri Posio. The man who stayed on was Mika Honkanen. And Finland now need 6-3. Roper makes a good stop to keep out Erkki Minala. Finland still not making a change. Putting his left arm out to get himself in position was Dan Roper for the effort. Right arm throw. A lot of spin going away towards the near side. One though that Finland and keep out. Loftus up quickly after saving a shot. Up he gets, but fires wide. Got a lot behind that, didn't he? Did Matt Loftus. Minala will have a go. Looks like he had more than one spin there in having that throw. Now Nanovic will have a go for Great Britain. Underarm. Diving was Honkanen, but Minala dived as well. It was Minala who would get there. Great Britain again and Dan Roper. However, though, Posio is there to keep him out. Attempt for Finland once more with Posio, and it's going to just go into the Finland half again for them to have another go. Good goal. Loftus tried his best. He was actually really unlucky. He probably deserved to let that be a Great Britain attempt if he had clawed it back, but it just went over the neutral line, and stoppage in play allows the court to get a bit of a wipe and a bit of a brush. Of course, the long-handled brushes are on, and of course there are people standing by who will come on court to give it a once-over. Of course, with the players slipping and sliding all over the place, of course they do leave some areas with a bit of sort of moisture on it, so to get it clean and Smooth is very important. Hanavi going for it. Far goal, and Minula keeping it out. They've been very, very good in those positions of Finland, Minula and Posio defending. Not quite had to sort of move around, it feels like a little bit to me, as much as Great Britain have. Did just see there, Nanavi just kind of slightly come out of position, come a long way from his area on the near side, where he's defending to go in the middle to try and stop the Finland attempt. Now, Nanavi will have a go for Great Britain, looking to make it 6-4, but Honkonen's there to deny him. Dan Roper's latest effort. It's out by Posio. Crowd knew he was unlucky with that attempt. Of course, the 10-second rule in now full swing after the whistle was blown by the officials to get the game back underway and to get the clock back running. Any stoppage in play, it stops. Won't get added on to the time. And it is denied. Good block by Posio. Throwing it off the court there was Minula. He did that because maybe he just wasn't set right and he couldn't get a good shot away, so he just threw it off the court to avoid giving away a penalty. There will be a Great Britain change. Dan Roper to be substituted. Josh Murphy. Coming up.
Josh Murphy.
So on he comes to try and turn Great Britain's fortunes around. Throw the dice by Faye Dale, which she will hope will have a big impact on this game, which right now is against Great Britain. Now Loftus, who gives the pass to Murphy. Had to throw that quite quickly. Just goes wide. Posio didn't get there. He did go down a little bit early, did Petri Posio, but it did go away from him and wide of the goal. Hanavi with the latest effort for Great Britain. Bounced and landing area. The shots have been good for that, having the sort of success rate of going in the landing area, hence why there's been a game short of penalties and sort of errors. Murphy attempting it in the middle, kept out by Honkonen. There was an arm raised by Pasi Koivukari, the Finland head coach. Maybe just wanting the decision to go as well. Of course, he can't shout the officials when the action is still ongoing. And he, of course, has to give signals and then just hope the officials see it. But the well-born Romaldas by Tekis didn't. Timeout call, 3 minutes 32 seconds. 8 games on Hall 1 on court today. Hall 2 is 8 as well. Right now, Ukraine-Australia is the opening game on court 2 in the other hall. Great Britain-China is next on court in Hall 1. That's a 10:45 start. Britain women yesterday, of course, beaten 3-1 by Japan on this court. Monday, of course, prior to that, Israel were able to defeat them. They have got a win already on home soil. They beat Australia in the first day and first game of the tournament for themselves. So Erkki Minula now will have a go for Finland. Not had many attempts, but it's straightforward for Josh Murphy. Doesn't even have to really dive or move at all. Honkonen, the Finland centre with the save. Bizarrely yet to make a sub as well. Oh, Finland, they are very happy with their shape, and they are now 7-3 up. Posio scored again. Again, the power could be too good for the opposition defence, and it was. Loftus just maybe not quite able to understand where it was. It was a difficult one to deal with. Took a bounce in the opposition half, then went in the landing area. It was a correct shot, so there would have been no penalty for Great Britain in that sense, but really was an effort from Posio, which was good. There's another one. We've seen them go 8-3 up, and it is Posio again. It's been an effort. It bounced inside his half. It stayed high, then went low as it went over the neutral area. Finland are heading for the hills now. As Great Britain seem to just be stuck and unable to find a way to the top, as right on the very goal line, Erkki Minala is there to keep Dan Roper out. 2 minutes 34 remain. Stoppage in play, and
Timeout called. 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
Timeout is called. Of course, with the shouting not being allowed, even things like mobile phones, they're not allowed to create noise at all. That can even put players off. So they have to be either turned off or have to be silent while the game's ongoing. So the spectators who may want to just peer at their phone when there is breaks, of course, to know that it is quiet. So back underway we will go. It will be a Great Britain ball, but they will make a change. Just as Great Britain were about to line up a shot, Nanavi will go off.
Number 5, Caleb Nanavi, is replaced by number 7, Dan Roper.
Comes Dan Roper back onto the court. Did start the affair today, did Dan Roper. Of course, before any player comes on, they do get their eye shades checked to see if there is no sort of half of the shade sort of on. They have to be fully over the eyes. That's the attempt from Murphy, which now sees him move over. He's gone from the right to the left, both defensively and to attack, as it's just shuffled the pack around for Great Britain. Dan Roper will have a go. Posio will keep out. Only Matt Loftus is the only starter who has not come off yet in this encounter for Great Britain and this contest. Now Murphy, power behind it, but he's off cue with the effort. Well off the court as the official by the Finland goal has to sprint away to get the ball. So we'll just drop into the path of Erkki Minala. He'll now go for it, and Murphy nearly helped on his way, and it came off his right side. So he tried to turn into it, but he did just recover, spin around, and essentially just sort of catch it. Minala has been the dominant scoring force for Finland in this game. Posio's helped himself as well. As it is now Petri Posio who will try and get Finland's 9th. It will not be one of the more worst attempts from Posio there. Murphy with the attempt. Just moving away from the tack line is the number 4 Minala, who I just mentioned has been at times in this game good with his attempts and accuracy. High ball, which the Finnish coach Pasi Koivikari was appealing for before it even caught a Finland player. The officials see it, and this is a chance for a 9-3 lead. Only player on is Josh Murphy. He's got to try and keep it out here. He won't keep up Posio. This is now 9-3 with 70 seconds left. Good effort, Murphy. Just moved a little bit left. Try and stop it, but it went to his right. It is now 9-3. To the side from the sort of Nordic region. Attempting to have a go now is Minala. And what to save is Dan Roper. Under a minute to play. As the attempt comes in, it will just be kept up by Minala and then just roll across to the other winger, Petri Posio. It was well by Loftus. Well, it started so well for Great Britain. They were 2-1. They were 2-0 up, 3-2 down, then 3-3. They've not been able to score in this entire second half. There's Finland have hit 6 to lead 9-3. As they have shown, just with the amount of power they put on their shots, a little bit more than Great Britain. Why? They are in front and Great Britain are trailing. What will be their third defeat from 4 on this court in Hall 1 at the CBS Arena. Posio going for it low, off the court and wide. Goal difference could, remember, play a big part in how teams will finish in this competition. Final attempt will be a Finland 1, will it? No, it will not. 0.7 seconds still remain by the time it drops. The last attempt will be one that Great Britain will score, but it's after the buzzer. For the first game of the day, Finland have recorded a victory over Great Britain men. First of 3 outings for GB in both the men and the women's. It is Finland who have beaten Great Britain men here by 9-3. They're back on court later at 5 PM when Japan are their opponents on Hall 1 and on court. But next up, Great Britain women are against China, which is a start time of 10:45, so we're just under 25 minutes away from starting now. Lithuania, who will hit 13 past GB, take on Japan in the next men's game. And then the women's encounter, USA Canada's after that. Korea against Egypt in the men's is 2:30. And at 3:45, Ukraine take on Germany women. And then we see Great Britain up against Japan men, as I said. And rounding this off at 6:15, it is Denmark against Canada women. Game number 60 will be of the Goalball tournament. So on court in Hall 1, it is a bad start to the day for Great Britain men. First of 2 occasions they'll be out on this court. They've lost their opening game of the day. They finished Finland 9, Great Britain men 3. everybody to the action, which will get started in just under 15 minutes time, but of course beforehand been a watcher the matches throughout the week. Of course they give a nice little introduction to the players that will be each team ahead of the next game. And there is home representation like there was in the last game. GB women up on court in Hall 1 as they take on China here at the CBS Arena in Coventry. Well, they really hope to get a victory after that defeat to Asian opposition yesterday in Japan. China have been at times strong when they've been playing on court in Hall 1. They got a good victory against Greece on Sunday, then they played on Tuesday and were at draw. Would have to get a draw against Israel as it is game 49 here. China against Great Britain here as we are nearly up to the half century of games here in Goalball. Let's take a look at what's to come and what's already happened. Just the one game has already happened. GB men were beaten by Finland 9-3. GB women up against China very, very shortly. We're under 15 minutes away from the start of that. Lithuania-Japan starts at 12. And then we have at 1:15 USA women against Canada. That'll be a very interesting battle. Korea against Egypt men is at 2:30. 4:45 Ukraine women against Germany women. Great Britain men against Japan women is at 5, rounding off the men's action and rounding off the action in the women's. And the entire tournament is Denmark against Canada for the day. That is not the entire tournament, it's still plenty of action to come. So we will, of course, have both Great Britain and China having a warm-up before they will start things off here, as it is Great Britain women against China, with starts coming up at 10:45. just over 5 minutes away from the second game of the day on court in Hall 1, as it is Great Britain up against China women. The men were to lose against Finland. Hopefully the women can put a smile on the spectators' faces. Well, of course, beforehand, here is a little guide and a brief explanation to what goalball is for any new watchers out there.
This is your guide to goalball. The aim of goalball is to throw a 1.25 kilogram ball into your opponent's goal and to prevent your opponent from doing the same. At the end of the match, the team with the most goals wins. It's a simple premise, but there's so much that adds layers of intrigue. At official competitions like the Paralympic Games, goalball can be played by athletes who are blind or partially sighted. All players must wear eye shades to even the competition. Players have some audio and tactile cues to help them locate the ball and their surroundings. The lines on the court are slightly raised, so players can feel where they are on the court. Added to that, the 1.25 kilogram ball has bells within it to help players locate its position. That's right, by the way, 1.25 kilograms. Goalball is played on a court of 18 by 9 metres, and the goals themselves are the full 9 metre width of the court. In teams of 3, players take turns to attack and defend depending on possession of the ball. It requires great toughness and durability, as the game is played on a hard court with limited protection, and the only way to stop the ball going in is to block it, sometimes by hurling yourself across the hard court to make spectacular saves. In attack, different throwing techniques are used to generate power and accuracy and to try and dupe the opponent. The most common is the discus throw, where players spin and release akin to a discus thrower. A popular move, coined the Brazilian special, involves powering the ball backwards through your own legs. Players aren't unlimited in their options though. Among the rules is a requirement for the ball to touch the floor in both your own and your opponent's half, much like a ping pong serve, to be a legal throw. At the Paralympics, throws have been measured at over 60 kilometers an hour, as the best players in the world to fire their way to glory. The USA are the most successful country at the Paralympics, with both their men's and women's teams winning a combined 13 medals over the years. Their women's team have also got the most World Championships podiums. In the men's, the USA are also the most decorated with 5 Paralympic medals, closely followed by Lithuania with 4. Goalball is played all around the world at the highest level of world and regional championships in Europe, Africa, the Americas and Asia and Oceania, as well as lots of smaller competitions. What are you waiting for? Check Goalball out now.
Sides on court, the 3 on the court for each are ready. Here are the lineups then, starting with Great Britain. Sarah Leiter is the number 1, number 2 is Antonia Bunyan, Georgie Bullen number 4, number 5 is Amelia Robertson, Megan Smithson Booth is number 7, and Lois Turner completes the lineup for Great Britain and squad. Aaron Ford, of course, is the head coach. Becky Ashworth is the assistant, with the other member of the coaching staff being Lawrence Mayhew. As for China, well, they are like this. They have Jiling Zhang as number 1, Zhenhua Chao is number 2, Li Shen Wang number 4, Miao Zhu is number 5, Chunyang Wang is number 6, and Pei Yingke is number 7. Xiaopeng Zhang is the the head coach, I should say, and Jianyun Zhuao is the coach supporting him. Of course, earlier on today we had Finland 9, Great Britain men 3. It's the first game of 8 today. The first of the 4 today for the women's is about to commence. Great Britain against China, USA, Canada, Ukraine, Germany and Denmark against Canada is a late game, as of course we also have in the men's Lithuania, Japan to come. Great Britain, Japan as well, followed by in between Korea against Egypt. So this is the second opportunity for the home spectators to watch. GB, the men didn't get off to the best of starts, as you saw and just heard. As I said, will there be a better outcome and a better result on court on Hall 1 here, as Great Britain look to get a victory after 2 losses against Israel and Japan over the last 2 days. As Great Britain have Bunyan, Bullen and Robertson as the 3 to start on court. Bunyan, of course, with the hockey mask, or hockey helmet I should say. Georgie Bull in the centre, and then immediate Robertson is going to be to her right when they are in position on the floor, which will be very, very shortly. China have Chunyang Wang. They also have Zhenhua Chao and Miao Zhu as the 3 starters, which is the usual sort of go-to 3 for Xiaopeng Zhang. So Great Britain will go left to right in blue, unlike the men who are in red. China in bright yellow. Similar colour to what a daffodil would look like, with sort of black on the sleeves. Great Britain with a bit of red and white on the top of their shirt, as they are about to be the team that's going to defend first, as China will have the first attempts of this one, and it will be Zhenhua Chao with it. Little spinning effort low. Good handling by Antonia Bunyan. Had to dive right onto the goal line pretty much to keep that one out. By the way, the officials, Andrea Kumar and Varek Yakas, Sarah Kurper and Romaldas Vaitekius are the timekeepers of 10 seconds. Millie Robertson going for it, right-handed throw. That well by Chunyang Wang, who's the right of Miao Zhu. And then the left of Zhu is, of course, Zhenhua Chao. He will be now collecting the ball from Chunyang Wang to have a go herself. Easy for Millie Robertson. Well, they've beaten Australia. They've lost to Israel and Japan since the Goalball began on Sunday. All on this court in Hall 1. By the way, on the other court, it's a Scandinavian clash, all of it. Anyway, it's Finland take on Denmark. This is 3rd game and 4th game of the day from 16. So after this, overall on both the courts in both halls, we will be a quarter of the way through. As the attempt from Wang is one that will bounce. All Bunyan has to do is just to sit and wait. And then it comes through, which she does. She has an attempt of her own, which China keep at the centre. Miao Zhu doing just that. As the only one stood up is Zhenhua Chao. She's going to line up a shot. Bunyan dive for it, but it's the feet of Bullen that keep it out and stop it from being a China goal. Now Robertson will have a go. Kept out by Miao Zhu. Can't quite get it away from her at the moment. Great Britain, as they have had a couple of attempts in the opening 100 seconds. Bunyan now, they're going to get the better of Zhu, but it's just straight at the China centre. If you get it away from her first of all and with power, that's when you've got to think you've got a chance. Cheers come in as Great Britain have kept the Chinese attack out for now. Robertson will have a go. Coming in from the near side, she's positioned herself on the far side. She's coming in from the near side to the far side. She's been on the near side for the whole game up until that point. Now Bunyan will have an attempt, one that goes through to Chunyang Wang. Zhenhua Chao going for it, which is blocked by Georgie Bullen. She'll now step back. looking at see what she's got and give it all she's got with the power. But it's kept out well by China. Now Antonia Bunyan looking to see if Chunyang Wang was off guard, but not the case at all, as Wang is able to keep it out. And then she comes from a little area on the far side to go into the middle. Again, Great Britain there to stop her. China were very good against Greece on Sunday. They would draw against Israel yesterday on this court. So they have shown flashes of decent outfit they are under Xiaoping Zhang. Bunyan now going for it, but stopped by Miao Zhu, who of course has the sort of little orange sort of thing on the outside of her sort of trousers, which is a very sort of distinctive feature, so certainly able to identify her from that standout feature. As will be a Great Britain penalty. Chance to get the opening goal of the game. And it will be Georgie Bullen who's going to take it. She's going to go towards the near side as she just moves her hand along the frame of the goal. She's going to go to the far corner. We'll put it wide. Claps all around from China, whereas Georgie Bullen was just a few inches away from giving Great Britain the lead. It was the right way to go. Really, really good effort. Just unable, though, to just get it on the inside of the goal, which, of course, covers the width of the court. Bunyan with the attempt, which is kept up by Zhenhua Chao. By the way, Zhiling Zhang, Li Zhen Wang and Pei Yinke are the Chinese substitutes. Great Britain's is Sarah Leiter, Megan Schmifshen-Booth and Lois Turner. So 8 minutes 24 seconds remain. Great Britain 0, China 0. Millie Robertson goes for it. Kept up low through the middle by Miao Zhu. Chunyang Wang looking to see if Great Britain's defence is off the pace, but very much on it as they sniff out what China were trying to do. Thursday's action, just a little flavour what's to come tomorrow. Great Britain will play Greece in Hall 1 on court at 3:45. Amelia Robertson has an attempt which Zhu saves. Not really been many opportunities where Chao and Wang have saved for China. So, of course, Great Britain probably haven't had many opportunities going in the corner. There's been a lack of them so far. Still a lot of time to try and go in front. As Bunyan looks to try and test Chunyang Wang there. She's right in front of her, of course. It's a real battle of wills there, isn't it? Chunyang Wang winning that one. It's Aaron Ford, the GB women's coach, looks on. Xiaoping Zhang looking on as well for China, the head coach. Zhenhua Chao. Stopped by Georgie Bullen. Timeout called by Great Britain. So over 7 minutes have been played. Great Britain 0, China 0. There's a drinks break. It is a game that has been close so far. Game against Japan yesterday was quite close as well, but Japan, of course, just got over the line, just had a little bit of quality, which it really came down to if you were to analyse it. Of course, they don't have to short it for long. They've got a day or so, and then they're back to it. Of course, they come thick and fast in the sort of first stage. There's the Goalball here at the CBS Arena in Coventry, the indoor bit of it anyway. Of course, the outdoor and the pitch is used for football with Coventry City. Of course, football fans will know that. Some men's side play there. Formerly Wasps men's rugby union side were there, but of course they don't now because of their demise due to financial irregularities. But he's hosting Goalball here and has been since Sunday and will be till this following Sunday as Robertson can't quite hold it from the effort from Jenhua Chow, but able to recover the Great Britain team and in particular Georgie Bullen. So good teamwork and good understanding there by Bullen to just help out Robertson. She turned into it. Jenhua Chow looking to get the opener for China. Unable to though, with Georgie Bullen making a great save out of it. If you can hold on to it, it's always a really good thing to do as well, as the deflection from Miao Zhu was one that Chunyang Wang got up to try and hold on to, but it just rolled past her and wide. She has a go herself. Diving to her right was Bunyan, expecting to save with her hands, but saving with her left foot was Georgie Bullen, as a couple of the Great Britain's men's side is watching on. David Scott, who would score one of the 3 goals against Finland in their opening encounter of the day, is alongside the spectators. Over 5 minutes left of the first half to play. Right now, currently, we see on court in Hall 1, Great Britain 0, China 0. Hall 2, on court, Finland women taking on Denmark women in a Scandinavian battle. There's Chunyang Wang now coming through the centre. A little bit of a run up, but the effort was lacking power, lacking pace as Georgie Bullen holds on to it. Excellent opening, sort of near 7 minutes as Georgie Bullen. Going for it now is Jenhua Chow. Robertson spills it. Bullen can't hold it, but Bunyan can. Now it will be Bullen with the shot, right arm. Chunyang Wang is there to hold on to it. Wang having a go herself, but Bunyan on the far side where she's playing in is keeping it out. Looking straight down the line, but Great Britain standing strong, as it might go in now, will it? No. The ball won't loop over Tonya Bunyan, who will keep it out. It did take a big touch off of the centre for Great Britain Bullen, but Bunyan was back and able to keep it out and keep it at 0-0. Scoreless game thus far. Chunyang Wang going to the goal line. The discus throw attempt. Turning, spinning, bouncing. But bouncing straight through to Georgie Bullen. She'll have a go again. She goes right on the goal line to have her attempt. She goes to the far side this time. Well reacted. Good timing. Good spot by Amelia Robertson. She's looking to try and find a way through. It's off target as it's gone off the court and wide. Of course, if they go right to the very end of where they're playing in, whether it's the near side or far side, the wide players, then of course they are very much close to being right off the court. And usually to spin in and get that right takes some doing. So 3 minutes 40 to go here in Coventry. Great Britain 0, China women 0. Been to get over 2 straight defeats against Israel and then secondly Japan yesterday. Bullen with the stop. Now be over to Amelia Robertson, who will have this latest attempt to get Great Britain into the lead. She will have a go, but kept out well by Chunyang Wang, who won't score as Bunyan's there to stop her. But defensively, the shape and the structure has been excellent by both. Been pretty faultless in terms of keeping things out. certainly shown on the scoreboard as we have 3 minutes to play. It is goalless. We nearly did have a scoreless half, didn't we, when, of course, Great Britain men and German men faced off against each other on Monday, only for Great Britain men to score within the last 4 seconds of the first half. Substitution is going to be brewing here for Great Britain. Lois Turner will come on. As Bunyan will come off. She was the first sub off in one of the games this week already. And Lois Turner is going to come on now. She's just having her eye stage checked by the officials. See if everything's okay. Tap on her back means that she's now officially allowed to enter the court. There was going back to that GB men and Germany game. We were in the last 4 seconds of the first half until it took Great Britain to score to not be 0-0, and then in the second half it was just a goal blitz as we would see Germany come out on top against GB in that affair on Monday, in which they would get 2 wins on court in Hall 1 would Germany. So we're back underway here. Of course, a little bit of the line in the China court needed to have a bit more tape on it, which has been done. So up and running, and away we go again. Robertson with the effort, kept out well by the feet of Miao Zhu. Chunyang Wang will have an attempt. Better one. It got Bullen just moving a little bit more there. So maybe now possibly Chunyang Wang is starting to get her range. Because of course, one thing about goalball, the eye shades, it can be a bit of a problem area for some players. Of course, when they are indoors and it's a bit of a hot environment, you can of course see the sweat sort of drip down and can go sort of into the patches before the shades. So of course they can't touch it unless they sort of get the approval from the officials, and then the officials can see if the sort of shades are then fine afterwards, and then the player's allowed to sort of just deal with the issue that's arisen. But of course if they don't, and they do, they will get penalised, and it will be an opposition penalty. Which is, of course, is one of those things that they probably teach you when you first take up this sport, is make sure that you let the officials know that you have got a bit of an issue with your shades. There's Turner, fresh from coming on, with an attempt to try and beat Chunyang Wang on her right side, but beats her, but not going, as you can certainly tell by the no cheers in the crowd amongst the spectators. Effort by Zhenhua Chao is one that is kept out by Great Britain. Robertson, straight at Chunyang Wang. And the effort's gone away from the defenders at the moment for both, and that might need to change. And good diving save right on the line by Lois Turner. Good work, actually. But again, it's not away from the corners. Wang now having a go. Kept out well by Lois Turner. Over now to Amelia Robertson. She's the one who seems to get a lot more power in her shots than maybe Turner and Bullen does. As we now get to see if Bullen can put some power on her attempts. She goes into the corner looking for placement. Over to the right of Wang over on the far side. The diagonal sort of attempted shot. That's one they're trying to keep out. Zhenhua Chao goes for it. Bouncing in the landing area of Great Britain. It's okay. It's defended okay as well by Great Britain. China would then give it to Chunyang Wang to have a go, who would throw an effort wide over on the near side, just past the post. Now Turner with it. Tapped by Wang. Bullen sliding and keeping it off her left side, and that will be that for the first period. Well, it's scoreless. Something we've not seen in many of these first halves here in the Goalball tournament in both the men and the women's, but it is 0-0. All to play for in this second half. Great Britain women 0, China women 0. We'll be back in just under 3 minutes' time.
IBSA, International Blind Sports Federation, presents, with the support of the International Paralympic Committee, IBSA Anti-Doping App, the first application of its kind in the Paralympic movement, specifically designed for blind and visually impaired people. Athletes, coaches, medical staff, managers, and the public in general now have a powerful tool to stay focused on the principles of clean sport. Scrolling down the main menu, you can find all the important themes you need to know to play fair and be alert to testing procedures and necessary adaptations for athletes with visual impairments. IBSA gives top priority to anti-doping control, being the only international federation with 3 sports in the Paralympic family: goalball, football, and judo. IBSA Anti-Doping App has external links, namely to WADA, where our sport agents can always find the most updated information, especially the list of prohibited substances and methods. Glory in sport can only be achieved by the athlete's awareness of their rights and responsibilities. You can find them on the IBSA Anti-Doping App. IBSA is continuously promoting anti-doping education to all its affiliate athletes and sport agents, not only about the consequences of the use of doping and the risk of using supplements. IBSA believes that education is the major tool to fight doping in sport. Informed athletes can make better decisions. Download the app now at the usual operating system stores.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have seen history being made today.
Such a great team at these championships.
IBSA. Beyond sight. Feel the sport.
Right on cue, second half about to start. GB right to left, China left to right. China in yellow with the sleeves sort of going from the top to the bottom, sort of different sort of shades of being black, as it's little outlines you can see just inside the sleeve, and then it goes right down to the bottom, covered in all black. GB blue with white on the top of the shirt on the front, as well as red. Of course, all 3 colours part of the Union Jack, which are hung up sort of just below the camera. And on the stream, as you can see, if you are watching it, it's China 0, Great Britain 0, 15 seconds in to the second half. China have already drawn a game in this competition, drew with Israel yesterday. There's been many draws in this tournament thus far, as it stands on course for one, and China would be involved in another one. So it is as you were for the sides on court in the game. Turner, Bullen and Robertson, the 3 for Great Britain from left to right. Left to right for China, Wang, Zhu and Chow. As it was put out by Bullen there because she didn't want to concede a penalty because she might have been worried about the shot, and maybe she might have been done on the... In fact, she might have taken a bit longer than 10 seconds, so she felt the best thing to do was just throw it off the court and not concede a penalty. And, of course, as they say, if in doubt, get it out, and that's exactly what she did. Now, Chunyang Wang has a go through the middle, looking for that far corner. Well stopped by Lois Turner. Front facing to keep it out. That's a really good stop, that. She's anticipated, which you do have to do a lot of, I would guess, in terms of defending. Which she's done very, very well. Got right on the goal line and smothered herself, made herself look big and kept it out. All the work was done for her even before the throw went to her direction. Gone towards her again, but she can't keep this one out. Or has that not crossed the line? Tell you what, seeing that, I think, that may have done, you know. We'll get a better chance here on the replay. The first time GB made a bit of a mess of a clearance. Well, that is well over the line. Of course, there are officials on each side that can determine if that is a goal or not. But there, of course, placed on the other side. And there is that confirmation that that is an opening goal for China. And it's Chunyang Wang who's got it. Chinese coach Yao Peng Zhang was very much putting his hand up to say, well, that surely is a goal. And it is, and we do finally have a breakthrough, and it's taken us 14 minutes nearly for that to be the case overall. And 2 minutes into the second half nearly played. And that's China who've scored as Lois Turner keeps that one out. Well, from the defensive point of view for Great Britain, it came off Bullen. Turner was a little bit flat-footed. She was the wrong side of her. She'd committed herself to her right. She had to move over to her left, and she just got it away. But it was well over the line as that went in. It even hit the sort of inside of the post as she cleared it. So if that had not gone in, I think there would have been a lot of protests from the Chinese staff, perhaps. Wang will now have another go. This time she'll go towards Amelia Robertson's side over on the far side of the court. Sort of the right on your screen and picture. Well, it is 1-0 to China. Remember, Great Britain men earlier on today lost 9-3 to Finland prior to this game. Great Britain men are up in action again later on against Japan, final men's game of the day. After us here, Lithuania-Japan. That is going to be an absolute classic. Lithuania have been a real interesting team to watch this tournament so far. They handed a 13-3 defeat out on Great Britain yesterday, which was stopped because of the mercy rule where they went 10 goals in front. It was stopped with 3 minutes of the second half left to play. Elsewhere, if you didn't quite catch that, USA-Canada women and Ukraine-Germany women will play, as well as the final game on court will be Denmark against Canada. Speaking of Denmark, they're playing Finland right now in Hall 2 on court. As this is game 3 and 4 of the day on both court in Hall 1 and Hall 2. Hall 1 we're watching here with China beating Great Britain by solitary goal to 0. Of course, 16 matches across both courts today. Here is now Miao Zhu will go for it for China, who may look to go 2-0 up. And they will do just that. Just creeps in. Over on that near corner, actually creeps wide. Just past the post as it was nearly into the goal from Miao Zhu. Nearly in, and we're talking just a few small inches from that going into the GB goal. Crucial block by the defence to keep it at 1-0. Now Lois Turner. Won't be Zhenhua Chao who keeps that one out. Remember, on the Great Britain bench there's Sarah Leiter, Megan Schmidtchen Booth, and Antonia Bunyan, who came off for Lois Turner. Jiling Zhang, Li Zheng Wang, and Pei Yinka are on the subs bench for China, who are yet to make an alteration. So the court will get a bit of a wipe as the brushes come on. Of course, they have to do that to clear the moisture off or any sort of stain left because of the players moving around and because of the sort of indoor venue and the nature of it. Of course, they are going to leave sort of a trail, so they have to make sure that it is wiped off the surface. Robertson looking to try and get Great Britain level, but Chunyang Wang, who scored the only goal of this encounter at the moment, making the save to deny Robertson. 8 minutes 15 seconds remain of this game and the second half. As Wang's effort is picked up by the feet of Georgie Bullen. As well, it's been a game that has been missing errors, to be fair, so both actually will feel quite happy about that in terms of penalties given away and whatever else you could associate with penalties being given away, as Turner's trying to beat Chunyang Wang on her side, the near side where that play was developing. Feels as though there might be a bit of an issue with Rice, so it's just getting checked out by a member of the officiating team. Back underway we go with Zhenhua Chao coming over from the far side to the near side to try to double China's advantage. Robertson going to beat China on their near side, but doesn't do so. You do often see that sort of technique of the discus throw and then trying to go from the right to the left of the court, right where they're shooting from, and then left where they're going to shoot into. She just threw the ball off the court there, Robertson, because she probably didn't feel like she was set up right to shoot. She didn't want to concede a penalty, so we've already seen Great Britain already do that in this second period, and Robertson did a good job of that again. And that's just thinking on your feet and thinking quite smartly, because they are very much in this game. And of course, if they were to concede a penalty and China went 2-0 up, an extra goal that China scored becomes so difficult. But if it is to remain like this, no doubt there will be feeling a little bit unlucky. Well, Great Britain, they have been very, very good in keeping out China, just barring that little area where Bullen, of course, saw it come off her feet, and Lois Turner just sort of struggled to understand where the ball was. It went over the line without touching the net. And it would see China go in front. 6 minutes 44 on the clock as a timeout's called. Of course, with this stoppage, it's a chance for a bit of noise to be created. As you can hear, shouts of GB coming in from the spectators over on the near side. Because this 45-second timeout that is the required amount of time that is allowed on a timeout. It's so important for coaches what they say and how they say it, because they've been able to watch and think about how things could change in Aaron Ford's case or in Zhao Peng Zhang's case, keeping it as it is. Chunyang Wang has a go right up to the very end line. Foot was behind it. It was a perfectly legitimate shot. Robertson looking to try and get the better of China, but there just seems to be no gaps opening up. And there is the second. Chunyang Wang with a wonderful finish underneath Amelia Robertson. She gets up quickly. It bounces. It goes right through. Robertson just a split second too late in trying to keep it out. And China now are 2-0 up, and both of them have come from the throws of Chunyang Wang. There was no deflection on her second goal this time, as they wanted that extra insurance goal, that little bit of security, and now they probably feel like they've got it with 6 minutes 7 seconds remaining. As now China will have another go again with Wang on a hat-trick. Stopped by Lois Turner. On the stretch, used her feet brilliantly to keep it out. Robertson now has a go. Well done by Chunyang Wang. Well, China, who put grease to the sword in their first game on this court on Sunday, then drew with Israel yesterday. Now the GB 2-0, the timeout is called by Aaron Ford. China lead 2-0 against Great Britain. What is match number 49 of Goalball here at these World Games here in Birmingham, or in Coventry, the venue here. Not even quite halfway through yet. The next two men's matches will take us past the 50 mark. So match 51 on this court, which will be Lithuania-Japan, will be exactly 50% of the way through this tournament. So, of course, 102 matches will be played in both the men and the women's. And the last match, the 102nd one on Sunday, will be the men's gold final at 10-4. Chunyang Wang will now attempt to try to put China 3-0 up. She tries to, again, catch and fall Robertson out, but not able to, as she's able to keep her out. Well saved with the right leg by Miao Zhu. Wang going for it again. She tries Lois Turner this time. She's able to stop her. No changes in this second half by either side, as Turner with another attempt. Just got a little bit confused, I think, and a little bit dizzy as she went up to the middle line in her own court and then stepped back, composed herself, would eventually throw. But she's alert to make a decent save from Zhenhua Chao. As Chunyang Wang's look to make it 3-0. And Great Britain pull one back with under 5 minutes to go. It just feels like anything they try to do against the Chinese defence, everything is just getting shut out. It's very much at the moment a case of this Chinese defence being the Great Wall of China at the moment, as they are 2-0 up, as effort from Robertson has gone off target and off the court. Zhenhua Chao, who's come in from the far side into the middle, hovering around the near side with the latest attempt, which Turner keeps out. She's had a decent game defensively, to be fair. She tries to go through the gap. It's not away and not through, between the right side of Chao and the left side of Zhu. There is another timeout called by Great Britain and Aaron Ford. Remember, the very next game is a 12 o'clock start, Lithuania-Japan. And then on Hall 2, the court there, USA, so prolific in the various competitions they play. In Goalball, take on Iran. They were winners yesterday on this court, beating Australia. 5-3. So, in this second attempt for GB to win a game between the men and the women's today, it's going to be 2 defeats out of 2. Hopefully it won't be 3 in a row when the men take back to the court on Court 1 at 5 o'clock when they take on Japan as Britain went closer. It was a bit of a nervous moment amongst the Chinese back line with Chunyang Wang seeing the ball hit her front, then go behind her. But she was able to just move along the ball in the air to keep it out. China call a timeout. 3 minutes 52 seconds remain. China efficient at the back. Very strong. It's been a real good, complete, all-round performance by them as they are in front. Robertson will now get the game back underway with an effort which is straight at Zhu. She certainly really earned her worth today, is Miao Zhu. Bullen will have another go for Great Britain. Zhu again keeping it out. She's not missing a thing. It's the Chinese centre. In terms of defensive performances, all round from China, this is probably up there in my opinion as one of the best we've seen in both the men and the women's. Just not seeing any of the shots, barring maybe one or two, go even behind them or even giving Great Britain a whiff of getting any goal back in this game. They're just sort of killing hope by the minute and seconds as China lead 2-0 here in Coventry, CBS Arena. On court against GB women. 2 defeats in a row they've suffered. They lost to Israel on Monday. Yesterday they lost to Japan. It's going to be a third in a row, unfortunately, as it stands. Well kept out, though, by Georgie Bullen. Sarah Leiter, any moment now, will be on. Next time it's off the court, which will be now, they will make this change. I expect GB. Or maybe not. I don't think Aaron Ford's done yet. Discussing the role she is going to play when she comes on. Lois Turner will now have a go for Great Britain. Went over towards that far side where Zhenhua Chao was. So they went a different direction, but it's the same result with China keeping it out. Robertson going diagonally with her attempt from the right to the left, but again China keep it out. In Chunyang Wang, she goes towards the near corner where Lois Turner is keeping guard of. So there will be now this change for GB. It's been brewing for at least a minute or so. Sarah Leiter will be the person to replace Lois Turner. Of course, she has often come on as a substitute during the competition for Great Britain so far. Just getting a shades checked. She will now come on. She is partially sighted, but of course, while she may have better vision than some players, she has to have fairness and of course has to wear eye shades because, of course, it means that no one is more superior than the other one. It gives it a fair advantage for everybody on court. All the rest of the 5 players. Makes a stop there to deny Zhenhua Chao. Now Bullen having to go for Great Britain. It's just not falling for them, is it? I don't think they should be too against their performance. They've not really done a lot wrong themselves. In a game where both have pretty much stayed alongside each other, it's just been those occasions where there's been a little slip or a little bump that Great Britain have hit. China have had smooth ground which they've capitalised on and have scored twice from, as there will be another GB change It'll come. Amelia Robertson will be replaced. Antonia Bunyan. Those purple eye shades over her eyes is going to come on, as well as put on her hockey mask, hockey helmet on. Of course, with the sort of visor on the hockey helmets, adding that little bit more protection to her eye shades as well. So with a minute 21 left, it is China who are 2 up. Georgie Bullen will have the latest attempt for GB. She's moved right across the goal line. She's central. Right arm under throw. Kept out well there by Miao Zhu, as China are going to look like they're going to go through the entire game without making a single change. So much faith has been put in the trio from Xiaopeng Zhang. There's the Great Britain side of the court, gets a wipe on the floor. Because what can actually happen as well, there has been occasions during the men and women's game where when there's a stoppage in play, the ball can actually get a wipe as well, which you are just seeing now over by the officials table. Just behind the scoreboard there was a towel already set for that to be the case, and they do wipe it because of course it can have real problems with handling for players. So it needs to be dry as well as have a smooth surface, which of course makes life so much easier for the players. So under a minute to go. Zhenhua Chao with the effort. Oh, it's off the frame of the goal from Sarah Leiter. It comes back into her, fortunately for Great Britain. Real let-off as China nearly go 3-0 up. So with the discus attempt throw, she turns her back and faces forward is Zhenhua Chao. Kept up by Bunyan. The centre, Miao Zhu keeping it up for China. Bright yellow going for it again is Zhenhua Chao, but it's well held by Georgie Bullen, who was just a metre or so from the goal line where she made the save from. 19 seconds and under to go. China 2, Great Britain 0. Chun Yang Wang on a hat-trick. Sarah Leiter using her legs to keep her out. She had to move over to her right. She was in between Bunyan and the shot to keep it away. 5.3 seconds left. Timeout called by China. As on the goal line and nearly there are China. Xiaopeng Zhang calling it the China head coach. Great Britain caught getting a wipe whilst Aaron Ford right in the middle of it is speaking to his players. It's going to be unfortunately a third defeat in a row on court in Hall 1 for Great Britain. They lost to Israel on court here as well on Monday. Were losers to Japan yesterday. They did beat Australia in their opening game on this court on Sunday. China are just going to hold on to this for the last few seconds, which they do well, and the buzzer sounds. A clean sheet and a 2-0 victory for China. They drew yesterday against Israel and continue their good record on this court with 2 wins and a draw. Great Britain beaten, as the chance for the women to do what the men couldn't do is something that they failed to do, as they've been beaten 2-0 here. As I mentioned, Great Britain men played early. There were 9-3 losers to Finland. Lithuania, Japan is next. 12 o'clock start. The next women's game, 1:15, USA, Canada. Korea, Egypt in the men's is 2:30. 3:45, we have Ukraine, Germany women. 5 o'clock, GB men back on court against Japan in Hall 1. And Denmark against Canada women rounds us off at 6:15. So we are 2 games down on court in Hall 1, as it is finished here in the second game of 8 today Great Britain women 0, China 2. We'll be back very shortly for Lithuania men against Japan.